Have you ever watched those podcast videos and you thought, how in the world do they only get like the speaker to show up on the screen right when they speak? I don't have time to do all of the editing and that it takes to do all of that stuff. Well, wonder no more, because today we're going to crack the code with a few easy clicks in an amazingly powerful program that I love called Descript. It's like video magic, but you're the editing wizard. Well, I've got an affiliate link below in the show notes in case you want to check out Descript. I just absolutely love it. All my videos, my podcasts start there. But if you've already got Descript, you know this already. In this tutorial, not only am I going to show you how to use the Add Scenes by Active speaker function, I'll also throw in some cheat codes to make your Descript life easier. Editing does not have to be boring and take forever. And of course, if you like this video and you want to see more Descript tips, video or audio podcast pointers, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. You're going to be reminded every time we drop new videos like this to help you. So let's get rocking here in Descript. It's not, it doesn't look glorious here, ladies and gentlemen, but what's under the hood is an amazingly powerful engine for you to be able to use for your videos and for your podcasts. So I'm going to go to one of the interviews that I have, and I'm going to pull in the ISO video file. So depending on your podcast recording software, if you use Ecamm, if you use StreamYard, if you use Riverside, there's a bunch of video recording softwares where you can get the isolated video of the guest and the host and the other guests and the other people that have been in a particular podcast. So I'm going to hit new and I'm going to hit video project, because that's what we're doing. This is a video project. And this is an interview with Lee Salz and Pete Primo. And this is going to be a vertical video, vertical full interview. Right now you can see this is set for widescreen or landscape, and we're going to go portrait or 9:16 aspect ratio because we want this to be a vertical video. And this is what I'm going to use to do socials and how I set up captions and all of this stuff. So you can do whatever size you want to do, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use vertical. And of course, if you wanted to go back to landscape, you can do landscape. If you want a square video, you can hit square, it'll be square, but we're going to do portrait for the purposes of our video. And then I'm going to pull in the two isolated video files. And so if I select here, which is the media menu, and I click add files, from there I'm going to select the two ISO videos that I have from my interview, and I'm going to import those files here. Now, just so you know, there's a way for you to pull in videos and audio files into Descript and not have it transcribe. You will need to transcribe your files in Descript. So make sure that your files are transcribed. And the way to do that right here is you could see that these files are being pulled in. Here they are. You've got both of these guys. And what I'm going to do here is I am going to transcribe both of those files. So this transcription is happening. And here I'm going to name the speakers. Now, I pulled these in from StreamYard, and so it's kind of like a lot of words that are happening here, but I can tell when I hover over each one of these things that this says Pete Primo and the one underneath it says Lee Salz. And so the top one, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type in Pete Primo and hit enter. And then the second speaker, his name is Lee Salz, and I'm going to hit enter there. So now it is telling, if I hit done, is telling Descript that anytime Pete is speaking, that is Pete Primo, and every time Lee is speaking, that is Lee Salz. It is continuing to transcribe. You can see in each one of these things, it still says that it's transcribing, but this view right here that you see is the sequence view. So if at this point you feel like your guest maybe didn't have the best sound, like maybe they were in a large room, or maybe they were using the microphone from their laptop, Descript has a really powerful audio plugin, and it's called Studio Sound. And you can see this Studio Sound that's over here on the right. So I know that Lee was in somewhat of a noisy room, and so I want to use Descript Studio Sound to kind of minimize that room sound. So I'm going to go ahead and click Studio Sound on that. Now that's going to slow things down a little bit. You have to be connected to the internet to do things like studio sound, and there's another little function that I may be able to get to that's called Green Room. You'll need to be connected to the internet to have that sort of functionality as well. And you can see down here it says, maybe you can see that it's very small, but it says applying studio sound to that. Now Pete doesn't have necessarily the same issue that Lee had, so we're not going to add studio sound to that. So we're going to create a sequence. The sequence is what you're going to use to create this situation where every time somebody speaks, you're going to be able to use just their video as a scene in Descript. So every time they talk, they're on the screen, somebody else talks, they're on the screen, and that's how that's going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the sequence into the script. So you can see I've got that selected, and I want to insert this into the script. Now this is still transcribing. You can see it's still working. Things are still cooking here. It takes a little bit on Descript. Keep Descript open and do a little multitasking. I'm going to wait for the transcription, wait for the green screen, all of those kind of things that you're going to use. Trust me, it's worth the wait. So you might want to have some other things open and kind of multitask as you go through. So I'm going to insert this sequence into the script. So now we've got a vertically formatted full interview right now of Lee Salz guesting on the Pete Primo show. And as you can see right here, here is the transcript, and you can see as each one of them speaks, Pete Primo is in green and Lee Salz is in purple in this instance. But you can look over here on the video, it doesn't really look good. In fact, like nobody's gonna watch a video that looks like this, right? So what I like to do in this instance is kind of go up here at the very beginning, and I wanna size each one of these guests, hosts, all the people that are in the particular interview, and size them commensurate with the vertical or portrait video. So we're going to start here with Pete, and we're going to get his video up here, and I'm going to get him kind of lined up and centered. Now Pete right now, this is the intro video that's happening, so he's not exactly centered, but I'm going to go with this, and I kind of find that I get him to where I can do it like so, and then I grab the top and I pull that up. He's not totally centered. The other thing too is I'm doing this at the beginning. You could always alter any of the scenes that you want. I'm going to minimize the amount of space he has between the top of his head and that. This is going to expand it a little bit. And I know he moves back to the center throughout the interview. All right, so that's Pete, and he's the layer that's on top. And so I want to move his layer back. And the easiest way to do this is just to hover your mouse over that particular person, right click, and then go to layer order, and you want to send him to the back. You send him to the back, and there's Lee. There's little Lee, his video right there. And we're going to center Lee. It looks like he's not quite centered from the show. As a producer, I need to do a better job of centering him. And there we go. And I'm going to pull this up, and we'll get Lee at the top. That looks good. And we'll pull Lee down here. Again, if things alter throughout the course of the show and he decides he's going to move over to his left, your right, we can certainly do that. So right now, as it stands, we've got Pete and we've got Lee. And right now, Lee's on top of Pete. Sort of like a Photoshop, Canva sort of situation. You've got a video on top of a video. These are layers. The next thing I like to do, you don't have to do this, but I like to create captions where you see the templates and you click on that. And then if you click on, make sure you're on the gallery, and then you'll see captions over here. And if you click on captions, I like to start with just a basic thing that has a color. So like outline in yellow is what I choose, or sometimes outline in green. Basically the same. You can change the color. It's really customizable, which is something that I love. So I'm hitting caption, and you can see right now the caption's there, but nobody's talking, right? There's no script. So if I were to go to here and click on the script, so here's the script. Here is the caption. Captions all in lowercase. I don't love that. So you can click over here and you could see that there is all uppercase. And the beautiful part about this is it's fully customizable. You can change the color. The color of the show is more blue, so I'm going to change it to blue. I don't like necessarily, maybe you don't like this font. You want to change it to this font. You can click on that. You can click, various things, italic, all kinds of things. You can click on this and click on search, and it'll, Google fonts, which you're able to use, are fully cleared for you to be able to use. And so I'm going to click on this. I'm going to get it down to where it's, kind of out of the way. You don't want it in front of their eyes and, on their face or anything like that. So I'm going to click it on that. I'm going to click over onto Pete speaking. So when we see Pete, and here I'm going to right click and I'm going to send Lee to the back. And here's Pete. And okay, I'd lined up Pete, but Pete is a little bit too far over to the left. So we're going to go back up here and I'm going to move him over to the right, because I had lined him up based on what it looked like at the very beginning. Let's go down here to the bottom. Let's see what he looks like. Right. Okay. So it's back. And again, any of these things you can change in the scenes if you don't like it. If you're doing a sort of short form video, you want to alter any of that stuff, you can totally do that. Now we've got Pete and we've got Lee and we've got what we like as captions. And now we want the secret sauce. That's add scenes by active speaker, because we can take this entire video and have it be like when Pete talks, Pete's on the screen with captions. When Lee talks, Lee's on the screen with captions. Here's how you do it. Put your cursor all the way back here at the very beginning. And then you see here at the top, you see actions. Now, you might need to type this, but when I click on actions, you're going to see this right here. And it says add scenes by active speaker right here. You may need to type this for the first time, but because I use this so much, the AI or whatever in the program has said, hey, if you click on this, Chris uses this a lot. And so you may need to type in add scenes by active speaker and watch the magic that happens when I click on add scenes by active speaker. As you can see right now, it's creating that. So as this is populating, you can start to see, here we go. And then I'm just going to click on whatever scene 4 is, and you'll be able to hear that.
Pete, you had me nervous. I had no idea where you were going with that opening.
So there you go. So, and obviously, if you click back on here, you can see it says Peach. And, any transcription service is not going to be perfect. But in Descript, you can right click and you can do correct, and that you can type in Pete and then click correct. And what that will do is that will correct the transcript, and it will also correct the transcription. As you can see underneath, it says Pete. So now you have this entire interview that where it goes back and forth, and you can kind of see, let me just go to the end of the sentence where Lee starts talking, and it'll flip over to Pete.
Is that the real test?
I guess if our dealers put their customers to sleep right in the showroom, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
So there you go. And so at this point, you have the entire interview. And so you can take this and you can export this, and you've got a file, a vertical file with captions, and you can use this to maybe put it on Instagram Live as a broadcast using Ecamm or StreamYard or something like that. You can certainly do something like that, or you can do as what I do as well is create any sort of vertical social media content, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, things like that you can do right in here. And so, you've got the entire interview to go through. But what I like to do is maybe the host asks a question and then the guest answers, right? That's usually, particularly a good sort of thing for social media. You can just grab that, and that would be like sort of the very intro, the hook, the question. And watch this. In Descript, as I select this, you can see in this very upper sort of area, you can see the amount of seconds. If you can see that, it says 21.52. So knowing that you need to create a video that's around 1 minute, so you want to keep it under 59 seconds so that you can upload it as a YouTube short, 1 minute and 30 seconds on Instagram. These things change a lot of times, but you can do this. You can kind of say, okay, I'm going to select, and maybe Lee gets to a point where he's like, here's about a minute. The results look like an EKG report. That's 45 seconds. And he says, I could see looking at the revenue and someone left and a new person came in. Good luck in growing a business when that happens. And that's right about a minute. That's perfect. That's 54 seconds. Okay. So I do that and I say, okay, this may be a good short. And you can go back and you can listen to it for whatever your purpose is. So I right click this, and I click duplicate to, and you'll see new composition. You click new composition. And what that does in Descript is it keeps everything here, and you can just keep pouring through the interview and finding other clips and create new composition. You find another clip, create new composition. And all of a sudden you've got maybe 10, 12, 15, 20 different clips that you've gotten from this particular interview. And if you go back up here, where it says, Lee Sauls and Pete Primo vertical fold interview, and you click that little drop down, all of your clips will be showing up here. And so that clip that I just copied and duplicated to a new composition is right here. And when I click on it, there it is. This is my composition. It's 2 scenes between Pete and Lee. What you would do here is when Lee's talking and he would say sheer panic, I would go in here and I hit a backslash, and that creates a new scene. So now there's a new scene, and then you go down to where it says not process based, and let's just say that this is a scene right here, and you want to pull in Pete, and maybe Pete did a face. So you're in this particular scene, or maybe you want to pull in sheer panic video, because Descript allows you to pull in stock video and GIFs. And so here's just sheer panic. We're going to put this above Lee, and I'm going to pull in a video of something that is someone panicking, right? Because that's sometimes what you see in vertical video or social video, like somebody panicking to kind of like help tell the story while you're doing it. So I'm going to pull in a GIF of somebody panicking. So I click on GIF up here, and I type in panic, and we're going to see somebody panicking. Oh, this is fantastic. We're going to pull in this, and he is from a very popular show. If you know what that show is, please comment in there. And he's breathing into a brown paper bag because he is what? Panicking. Now, if you notice, when I size that GIF in there with Lee, it's covering up the captions, right? So make sure you can just click on the captions. Again, I love the right click. You can just right click the captions, put that caption, make sure that's on top. You want to bring that to the front. And now if you hit play on Lee answering the question, it's going to flip over to panic.
And the owner would call me nights, weekends, whenever a salesperson resigned. It was catastrophic to the business. Just sheer panic would set in. And the reason for that is they were people-based, not process-based. So when they're different vertical...
So there you go. That's a way to break up the person speaking and the next person speaking, next person speaking. Maybe every 15 seconds, 10, 15 seconds, you do a pattern interrupt and bring in a video or bring in a GIF from Descript. And then, of course, when you're ready and you've got your video ready to do it, I like to label it, and we'll call this Lee Sauls Pete Primo Panic. So that way, and it's vertical, and that way I know and I can save that file and be able to use it. I can import it into Final Cut or whatever other thing if I want to add, my own little special sauce that I like to do. But you can do a lot of stuff. You can do transitions. You can do all kinds of stuff in Descript before you export it. And what I like to do is, you can click this upper area where it says publish, but don't publish. What I like to do is I like to click export, and then you can see the resolution is at 1080p, and I like to make sure that the quality is high, and then I click export, and then that export goes to my downloads file, and then I can use it from there. If I want to add music underneath, you can add music and other things underneath within Descript. Personally, I like to do it in other pieces of software, and so you could do you can absolutely do it within Descript and be able to do it that way. Take the entire video if you want to, from a vertical perspective, from a wide perspective. You add your own captions, add your own things, and all of your editing. It's an incredibly powerful thing, but I really do love this add scenes by active speaker, which is really what this video is about. And of course, I really hope this video helps you.